When my uncle Henry Ford II challenged Ferrari and came over here in the 60s, in 66 we went 1, 2, 3. And as a 9-year-old kid, that was burned into my brain. It was about the coolest thing I ever saw. And in many ways, it's why I joined Ford Motor Company.
The press went wild when they saw the car.
Well, we had to have the right car to come back. I mean, we weren't going to come back unless we had a great car, and thankfully, that's exactly what we have. You know, we're not coming here to learn. We're coming here to race and to win.
You know, I have to tell you, in our garage where we go into work every day, we have historical pictures, and the one picture we have before we get into the elevator is in 1966, and those 3 GT40s crossing the finish line. Every day we walk in the door, we're looking at that, and that heritage weighs very heavily on us, but also at the same time, it just energizes us to live up to that.
It shows that sports car racing is a worldwide phenomenon, a worldwide sport. The opportunity to have Ford start their new Ford GT racing program, factory-backed, and for it to start in Daytona, it's going to be very special and exciting to see this car perform for the first time in the Rolex 24 Daytona in January.
Le Mans, 1966. Henry Ford II attended and was given the honor of signaling the famous Le Mans start. Man against man, machine against machine. And the black number 2 Ford still holds the lead. First place, the number 2 Ford GT. Second place, the number 1 Ford GT. Third place, the number 5 Ford GT. An authoritative win for the American challengers.
See you there indeed. What a moment it'll be at 2016 as Ford returns to Le Mans to wake up the echoes and race with Ferrari, Aston Martin, Corvette, Porsche, and so on.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, I am so pumped to see it. The car looks, I haven't seen it in the flesh, but it just looks awesome. Spoke to Scott Pruitt yesterday. He's so excited about the program. He's done a few exploratory laps in the race car, and the serious testing takes place next month and on through the off season. So a lot of work to do. We'll see how it comes out. And but seeing them going up against Corvette here, and then over at Le Mans going to battle against the Ferraris again, is going to be cool.
Hearing Bill Ford say, you know, it made such an impact on him that, you know, that's part of why he more or less joined Ford, as we hear them giving the command to start engines. We're going to go back to yellow so they can finish the pit stop sequence and then get back to racing here at the dash for the finish. I think I heard him say in another interview that he said, you know, this is, I knew I would be with Ford the rest of my life. It had that big an impact on him. So speaking of Ford and Scott Pruitt, let's get more from him, from Jamie.
Scott, we just showed the feature about the Ford program for next year. I know you've done some exploratory laps. What stage is this program in right now?
Well, it's moving forward at, you know, lightning speed. The first objective was to get it to Le Mans unheard and actually unseen. So testing was very limited. We filmed most of that in that video over there at Le Mans. Michelin was very kind to let us use their facility there. I had my family at home, and now we get it back. Multimatic's going to take it apart and get a quick look at everything on the car. It's pretty exciting, and going to Le Mans and being a part of that and seeing the history and the heritage of 50 years ago. I had the opportunity to drive the prototype GT40 from '64, a '66 car that finished third, and the latest 2015 car, so it's been pretty cool.
There's definitely a lot of fanfare around this project at the moment. You've been a part of initiating several cars. How does this one compare to other programs that are in their development stages?
It's always exciting, at least for me. I always dig being involved in development stuff. I've done a lot of it over the years, and it's always a lot of fun. It's always a challenge, massive challenge. It started a couple years ago. You got to realize the engine we're running, everything we're doing is to develop that engine to go racing next year in a GT car. Won a 12-hour race, one Daytona 24. The engine's looking good. The Ford has been doing an immaculate job with the EcoBoost engine, and we're excited to get it going.
It wasn't so long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, where you were starting to use words like retirement. What has this program done to rejuvenate you as a driver?
I got a good shot of adrenaline in the arm. It's exciting. We're having, and with this race we're having today, I mean, we're finally, we're racing at the front. We're leading. We're racing at the front, and that's great for the team. And you get that momentum going forward when we take on this Ford GT program. It's going to be exciting.
It certainly is exciting. You hear the silence now on pit lane. Cars are back out on the racetrack.
Ford piece is so cool, but I think the real capper would have been to have Scott say hi to my family at home in French.
I thought you were going to say that black stallion that appears beyond the fence on the other side of the fence as the car goes by.
After Le Mans, he took his family to Italy so he could say hello to his family in Italy. But the funny thing is, it's not just 50 years ago. The whole Ford Motor Company owes its existence to motorsports. Henry Ford won a race before the Ford Motor Company was launched and raised enough money from that
to build a car
called Sweepstakes to go into business with the Ford Motor Company. So a lot of people say it's part of our DNA, and a lot of people it is. But with Ford, it literally, you could say the company wouldn't exist if he hadn't won that race that day.
That iconic GT40, what a car to hang your hat on in racing. I mean, a GT40 won the first 6 hours here at Watkins Glen in the hands of Jackie Ickx and Lucien Bianchi. It shouldn't have been that way, though. Leading by a lap was one David Hobbs and Paul Hawkins, but they were told by their team manager, David York, to slow down and let the other car make up the gap and pass them for the win. And when old Habbo got out and went stomping up to David York to find out why, he was told, well, Jackie likes to win. To which Habbo replied, and I'll be nice about it, I like to win too. There's a look. There's Habbo and the Hawk. David York at the bottom of the screen. And behind, Jackie Ickx. It's a hot day. How about this group of drivers? Joe Siffert sitting there. How many can you name? Hobbs up to the right.
Habbo has a slightly different profile these days, I think. Yeah,
that was at full flex.
This is when the start-finish line was after turn one.
Right. Richard Atwood talking with his lifelong friend David Hobbs and Paul Hawkins. Ickx and Bianchi went on to win the race over Hobbs and Hawkins, who got a cash bonus from Grady Davis from Gulf Oil, who felt badly that they'd been robbed of the victory. But enough of ancient history. And our thanks to the International Motor Racing Research Center here in Watkins Glen, New York, by the way, an outstanding facility supported by the good folks at Corning Glass. Let's get down to the pit lane as we await another green flag. Brian Till is with Joao Barbosa.
Joao Barbosa looking down pit lane, looking at some of the cars that are pitting. Now, you guys have had a good car all day long. It's been running up to the front. But in these weather conditions, when it comes back like this, what does the driver have to do inside the car to readapt to the wet condition?
It's really hard. You really have to read the track very well. This track has a lot of different patches, so the grip level changes corner to corner. And with the rain, you just have to be very, very patient. It's a very tough conditions out there, but it's the same for everybody.
Yeah, you say it's the same for everybody, but which would you rather have, a steady rain or a drying condition like we had earlier, a consistently wet or a drying condition, and will you be getting back in the car?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is for me to get back in the car. Hopefully it's not going to rain anymore than this. This is pretty much the limit, I would say, because the visibility is very bad. Obviously, if it starts to dry, I think it's going to be better for us, so we have to wait and see.
You told me earlier, you said, yeah, I'll get back in, but I want to make sure that Christian dries everything out first before I do.
Pit stop sequence is underway after 14 minutes of red flag stoppage. Got about an hour and 9 minutes remaining in the race. That'll figure in pit stop strategy, Cal.
Well, yeah, and the pit stop strategy is right now the pit lane is open for prototypes. hour 8 on the board, Tommy. I would have thought if you topped up now, and if we do go the rest of the way with an extended yellow or a red flag, you could potentially get to the finish here. So no one's rolled the dice there.
I'm not surprised the front guys did, because maybe it's too aggressive, but someone that's sitting like Valiente or someone like that, that seems like it would have been a no-brainer.
And also, if anyone wants to get that driver change done, get it done now under caution. Nothing can go wrong. So that surprised me a little bit.
Everybody will be studying their driver logs. You can't go more than 4 hours of driving time in the race.
Maybe they just feel they're too far out. Even under wet conditions, you can't do 68 minutes versus like a 50-minute run in dry. So that could be factoring in.
Yeah, I'm guessing they probably can't. But if you get some more yellow, then you can. So again, it's a gamble. But
didn't expect, like you say, the leaders to do it, but I thought someone would.
Especially a 2-car team could split their strategies. Yep. And you're going to be running at a reduced pace for a while, as long as the track is sopping wet, so you're not going to use as much fuel, which helps you extend. Makes it look like a better and better bet all the time. Well, they're down there, and we're up here.
And he didn't even have his helmet on, so he's not
right.
Seeing the leader in GTD come into pit lane, so they're making that call as the pits are now open for GTLM and GTD at the same time. 4-car, Tommy Milner comes in.
So the 44 was in.
The 17 stayed out there, I think. Who's leading?
It's like the WeatherTech car is pitting, the number 22. That's the class leader.
They're going to do their driver change now under yellow.
See, I'm surprised some of the prototype guys didn't make the same call here.
Both Corvettes are in, Brian.
Be a driver change on the 4. They had to make that driver change because Tommy Milner was going to be out of drive time. So that driver change being done, rain tires going on, obviously, in both of these cars as they head back out into some very treacherous conditions.
Well, pretty clear. Most, if not all, of the GT field decided, let's go ahead and top off. That may negate everybody's strategy. Well, we'll be back to turn them loose in just a moment. As we await the green flag, let's get you up to speed on the most recent developments at the SAHLEN'S 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by Audi. A red flag waved for simply unraceable weather conditions, visibility problems, standing water on the racetrack. The car spent 14 minutes in the pit lane. No touching of the race cars. But then they went through the full pit process. Everybody allowed to come in, change tires, drivers, tank up if you like. Here is the unofficial top 10 overall. Number 10, Taylor Racing. Ricky Taylor now driving. Joey Hand in the Ganassi Ford Riley. Christian Fittipaldi in the Mustang sampling car. Richard Westbrook. Max Pappas now in the 31. We've talked all day about how Max was there as a 5th driver for the Action Express 2-car team.
None of the lead prototypes took the option of pitting here, and with some of the GTD cars actually pitting, has now allowed just one car to be between Ricky Taylor, our leader, and Joey Hand, and that's the leader in GTLM. Number 17 Falcon Tire Porsche for Wolf Hensler, so it should be pretty smooth sailing for Joey to go after Ricky Taylor if he's got the grip, of course.
We saw both Corvettes stop, both the 4 and the 3. The 4 stop was completely normal, on schedule with a driver change and all, but the 3 stop took a little bit longer. Checked with the team, and what happened was there was a failure on one of the wheel guns. Actually, the socket that goes on the wheel nut actually twisted right off of the gun, so a major failure on the wheel gun, something you don't see very often, and that's what delayed the stop for the 3. Okay?
We did see GTD cars come to pit lane. Andy Lally brought that number 44 Porsche for Magnus Racing in from the class lead. He still retains that class lead. It was a fuel-only stop. I did talk to Andy when he was sitting on pit lane under the red flag, and he said it was absolutely diabolical out there. Now as the rain has started to wear off a little bit, it's going to suit their setup on that Porsche.
And you've got the leaders of every class. Well, actually, GTLM, there's a little separation, but the other 3 classes, you got the leaders of all the classes right with each other. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if someone in the Wheatland car is coming for the pits now. They're going to do their last stop now, field at reduced speed. If there's a yellow, they'll go right to the front.
Safety car pitch. You see the flagman on the right. Over on the left, 15-year-old Nolan Crowley, who likes to come here to Watkins Glen International. That's the racing career he'd like to have.
Top 3 in prototype, Claire Wolf Hensler. So now it's a battle at the front for the overall lead.
Everybody searching for grip.
This is where it's really difficult, right up here at the top of the S's. You think you're clear, then you see that inside lane there, whereas that sealant on the racetrack, it is literally, oh, the 4 car is in the wall. Lee Gavin had that spin earlier in the race on slick tires, and now he's run afoul here. I think that's on the exit of 1.
I don't know if this is the yellow I was saying the Wheeling car wanted. The Wheeling car, as Calvin pointed out right after I said that, is not on the lead lap, but it could help them get their lead lap.
I hit the Porsche. Spun him around and broken the steering. I'm in the wall to the right.
So one of the PC cars coming in from the asphalt runoff at 1.
If he's broken the steering, there's a good chance we'll go to full course caution again.
I think, yeah. No sign of it yet, though.
Now, if it doesn't come out when they come around, I would expect to see some of the leaders.
Close to a say, oh, there you see, he just loses the front end and washes up into one of the factory Porsches there and turns him around. Golly was just diving down to the inside. Now we go full caution.
That's the 912 Earl Bamber. Now we do have full course. It's our 6th, but coming as soon as it is after a restart, it will be a short caution, meaning the pits will not open for service.
If any of the guys had taken the stop like we said, they'd be leading this motor race.
I'm just really, really surprised with around the hour mark in wet conditions. Could be a final stop of the day in terms of fuel, so. Doug Feehan, their project manager, not happy.
Crazy conditions today here at the Glen. The field approaching, here they come. So watch that flatbed truck roll across the racetrack.
Sure, all of the engineers, smoke coming out of their ears right now, just trying to figure out, okay, what do we do?
Coming up on 58 minutes remaining.
Such an unknown too, Bob, in terms of how many more cautions you may see today, what the weather conditions will do, whether you'd need to hit pit lane for slick tires if it stops raining and last 20 minutes are dry. I mean, the variables are immense.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to you're going to have to roll the dice because you might have some guys switch it up. I mean, the lowest risk way is to stop now, hoping you get a caution later. But if you don't get a caution later, someone that stays out front and runs some really good clean laps could build enough of a gap to come out in front or make a leapfrog some positions.
I think if you'd pitted previously under the full caution procedure, you would have been packed back up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now it's a big risk. You got to fight your way through the whole field if you make a pit stop now under green, because under this short yellow, pit lane remains closed.
It's the 912. It's the car that was hit by Ollie Gavin in the Corvette.
Bamber's luck has not been the best today.
The car looks none the worse for wear. And there's Ollie Gavin. 2 weeks ago, King of the World at Le Mans. 2 weeks later, walking back to the Corvette racing pits at Watkins Glen. We'll take a break and return. 56 minutes and change remaining. In 1948, Watkins Glen, the village that is, hosted the first post-war road race in the United States. Shortly thereafter, Watkins Glen International was built on a hilltop near the town, and it has produced 6 decades great memories of all the world's great motorsports series racing here on the southern tier of New York State. Let's get you up to speed. A red flag waved due to weather conditions, visibility, standing water, and so forth. The field was brought to the pit lane for 14 minutes. then sent on its way behind the safety car under a full course caution. When the green flag flew down into turn 1, the number 4 Corvette got together with the number 912 Porsche, 2 GTLM cars, and just like that, Oliver Gavin, who helped drive that car to victory at Le Mans 2 weeks ago, was out of the race. Here's a look at the top 10 overall. Taylor prototype leading the overall and in class. Starworks number 8 car leads prototype challenge, and we are getting set for a green flag with less than 52.5 minutes remaining in this 6-hour event. I'm Bob Varsh with Calvin Fish, Tommy Kendall, Brian Till, Jamie Howe in the pit lane. Lights are off on the BMW safety car. We are ready to go racing. Ricky Taylor will lead Joey Hand and Christian Fittipaldi. PC, Renger van der Zande and Tom Kimber-Smith run 1-2. GTLM, Wolf Hensler and Patrick Pilet in a pair of Porsches. GTD, Mark Goossens and Andy Lally run 1-2.
Oh, Joey Hand looking for a way by there. Look to the outside. Nice job by Ricky protecting the inside because Joey got a good restart there. But Ricky was up to the task in making sure he didn't leave the door open, Tommy.
Yeah, look at him sailing into the S's.
Seen this before today. That 10 car comes alive in these low grip conditions.
Well, look at the rooster tails. I think this is more water on track than we've seen all day.
1, 2, 3. Prototypes all together. There's the GTLM class leader, number 17, Falcon Porsche.
He's not losing much ground.
No.
Wolfie's on it.
Must have a good
leader in
tire.
PC, Van der Zande in the martini colored car. There's second place in GTLM, the other Porsche factory car.
There's Bill Auberlin, who was told by his team boss, Bobby Rahal, you're the fastest car out there, go get him. Focus forward, babe, is the term he likes to use.
So cars jumping out of line. And look around the spray.
I thought I saw the Viper, which means the Viper got around Andy Lally. Mark Goossens got around. And now here's, no, that's not Lally, that's the BMW coming back around. There's the Viper behind the factory GTLM BMW. 93 car.
Goose is going to excel in these conditions, that's for sure. Mark Goossens. He's going to be hungry. He hasn't had a full-time ride this year, so when you get the opportunity of not only getting back in the seat, but maybe grabbing a win, he's going to grab it with both hands.
Looking for the 44. There goes Andy Lally on the outside of that group of cars. The Magnus Racing Porsche.
That's the WeatherTech car with Lee Keen off the outside, but it's paved.
Yeah, it's got good grip out there.
Yeah, but you don't want to go outside over the top of that.
Oh,
the 01
contact between the 10 and the 01.
Oh, he was coming to the pit.
10 was maybe made a late call or something.
Wow, a lot of damage. What a dramatic twist in this race.
Was there a mix-up in terms of the communication between those two lead cars? Maybe one was trying to get to pit lane. We'll have to wait and see, or whether one just got turned. Major damage to the 10 machine.
Front and rear.
Joey was definitely involved there. Here we look at it.
Oh, he spun. Is he going to come off the fence? Well, there goes the front of the car.
Oh, and Joey can't quite get it turned, and now this is what...
Oh, he thought maybe the 10 was going to make a dive to the pit lane, and then he locked up.
Minor damage to the front end of the 01, not major, but minor damage to the nose for sure.
From down in turn 1, looking up the track. To the right of your picture, headlights flashing. That's Christian Fittipaldi, who goes from 3rd to 1st.
Westbrook's going to get around Joey as well, maybe. They're the championship leaders, tied coming in. The 5 and the 90.
What a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
And we've seen problems in a number of races this weekend right there where the road flattens out, there's sealer change.
Oh, and he just stretched that lead.
Look, you saw what a lead he had too.
Yeah, just obviously had confidence in the race car and probably just stepped over that line a little bit in terms of where the grip was available, and pays for it dearly.
Meanwhile, away we go.
Okay, now Goossens has gotten held up.
And Andy Lally's right there.
And they're 3 wide.
With one of the GTLM Porsches in between. There comes the 22 up to mix it up with Lally. In fact, I think Lee Keen got by Andy Lally for 2nd place in GT Daytona.
Joe Bracing definitely in the mix here again for the win today.
Boy. White headlights on the prototype cars, yellow or amber lights on the GT cars, so you can tell them apart.
We can see a lot better than they can see. That mist of spray that's hanging in the air.
Look at the variety of lines where everyone's scrambling for grip.
Yeah, the GTLM Porsche goes very wide in that corner, but just off to your right on exit is that Armco, and we've got debris in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, and the 5 cars in pit lane. I think the reason is they think we may see a full course caution, so I like that strategy call. 47 minutes on the board. They needed to pit anyway. The only thing that can hurt them is if the track dries out. This should be their final stop of the day.
They might decide not to do a driver change, and they're not because of, oh no, here comes Barbosa. He's just there ready, and he's coming. He's going in. I know they want to get him in there.
Fresh set of wets.
Can they do the driver change fast enough, Brian?
Yeah, it'll be 4 new Continental rain tires, and you want that. You want those edges to be sharp. Barbosa will get back in, and everybody's saying on the radios that they're looking at the radar and that the rain will stay till the end. So having a good fresh set of rain tires is going to be huge for Barbosa.
I think the other leaders have got to respond. Joey Hand actually stayed in front of Richard Westbrook, I think. Unless the timing and scoring should have cycled. Here he is.
Damage on the left front as the driver looks out.
Yeah, not bad though. It's not bad. A little bit of dive plane issue. Look at him running the rim shot there. Look grip, then cutting back across Tommy.
Kind of diamonding the corner.
What you do is you carry some speed, and then you cut, and then you tiptoe across the line and get back to where there's some grip. Try to put the power down.
He dodged a bit of a bullet there. He was just trying to tuck it. He saw Ricky Taylor maybe going to go for pit lane, try to pinch the car a little bit more. Lost it, then clipped the 10 car. And now he's thinking those 2 days of testing and working on traction control are paying dividend right here, because it looks like he's got some grip.
Odd thing, that little lighted strip. Oh, and word from race control is the 5 car was too fast on pit road and will have to perform a drive-through as the 22 is off.
Well, that changes the strategy for the 01.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They don't have to respond to what the 5 car's doing now, so that really takes the heat off them in terms of having to hit pit lane.
And he's on a really clear track with no traffic.
Yeah,
right.
And he's got grip and the car's working.
It's Lee Keane and the WeatherTech Porsche. Now here's the incident involving Ricky Taylor. Gets a little bit of the curbing driver's right. Big impact with the fence. Joey Hand tries to avoid him. Taylor tries to dive to the pit lane. Around goes Hand. Oh my. Back at Watkins Glen, a sopping wet Watkins Glen. In the SAHLEN'S 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by Audi, we are under our 7th full course caution after some rain-induced contact on the track. There you see a front nose piece from the number 10 Corvette Daytona prototype, which sits in the pit lane. Brian.
Crew member just talking to one of the officials down here, and he made the mark across his throat. He said, "We're done." Now the work's still going on the front. I don't know if that's so they can get it back out of the pit lane. There's also significant damage to the right rear bodywork and under tray from the contact out there with the wall, and then also the 01 car. So at least the report that we're getting and that the officials got down here is that the 10 is done for the day.
What a dramatic turn of events, and it just got more so. Right after we went to break, the number 5 car hit pit road to serve its penalty, literally fraction of a second afterwards. And we're going to see a replay of the accident.
Yep. Slick part of the racetrack.
Ricky Taylor.
Got the wheels up on the curb. Joey Hand tries to get underneath
down
him,
on the
spins.
slick racing line.
Yep. He just
5 car goes around.
Ride with him and listen.
Every silence before you hit, waiting for the big whack.
Out of the throttle.
So what I was saying is the 5 car hit the pit lane to serve their speeding penalty. They got in seconds before the yellow flew. Because they were past the commit line, it was legit. They got in. Now they're actually back in the catbird seat because they've bunched back up, and the 1 car, the 01, still has to stop. The 01 and the 90.
currently run first and second.
The exact move they employed before, by getting into pit road before the yellow came out, they did the opposite of it this time.
Yeah, that's wild, and I'm surprised in some ways that the 01 didn't respond to the 5 car that made that stop. I think they believe there's going to be yellow because of the 10 no sitting in the racetrack.
Right.
So it's a great call. The 01 were maybe thinking about it, but then the 5 car got the penalty call, so they thought, well, we might as well just hang here for a bit.
Yeah.
But then
they
the
were
5
okay
car,
until the 5 pits, and the 5 pits right there.
exactly. So they're now full of fuel, and the 01 and the 90 have to hit pit lane yet today. So.
Well, I hate to hear myself say this, but looking out the windows of our announce booth, it's getting bad out there again.
Oh, wow.
We've had one red flag already.
5 car's going to be buried at the back of the pack, so you've got a lot of work to do and try and get through this field unscathed. So if Joey Hand or Richard Westbrook can gap everyone enough, it's about a 30-second pit lane delta coming down pit lane.
Well, here's the other thing: if they don't go back to green because of the weather, can those guys stretch it? The time, the amount of laps will be way shortened because they're going so slow now.
Absolutely. You
so
want
that's
to be on
probably their plan.
I'd be turning the ignition off and doing everything you can to try and save some fuel here. There's that left front corner that's torn up.
Hanging in it.
Yeah, that sort of eyebrow halo to the headlight. It's kind of weird.
Looked like Joey tucked to the right of the nose, and then the 10 car's in the middle, and Joey's just carrying too much speed to be down on pit entry there without washing up to the 10.
Well, while we await a restart, if in fact we're going to get one, we want everyone to know how proud we are of our colleague Tommy Kendall, who earned a well-deserved place in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America at its 27th annual in Detroit. How'd it feel, TK?
It was amazing. You know, since I found out I was getting in between then and the induction, I had a lot of time. There's me with Dan Binks, who was my crew chief for almost my whole career, Jack Roush, Brian Vickers, who inducted me. And it was obviously neat for me, but it was really neat for not only my family, but a chance to recognize all the people that got me there. And, you know, it's hard to process because, I mean, with all different disciplines, being covered in that Hall of Fame, motocross, 2 wheels, 4 wheels, boats, cars, NASCAR, short track. It's a cool bunch, and only one road race guy gets in a year. So I feel really lucky to have gotten that nod.
Congrats, and by the way, you haven't changed since then, so we appreciate it.
That's right.
Thank you.
Since I first saw you racing that Mazda at Sebring comes to mind.
Yep. 86, 87.
Yeah. Well deserved. We were both brand new in the business then. And it's a great Hall of Fame. It's going to be moving to the new Daytona Rising facility at Daytona Beach, Florida. And that incredible facility, $400 million of investment by the International Speedway Corporation, will make its debut at the Rolex 24 at Daytona here on our Fox Sports networks the end of January in 2016. So stay tuned for that. The DEKRA Green Challenge is awarded at each round of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. It acknowledges the cars that are most clean, fast, and efficient using a complex series of algorithms devised by the Society of Automotive Engineers, the Environmental Protection Agency, and other bodies, including the International Motorsports Association. You see the cars that perform best with the least environmental impact. Right now, Corvette Racing, the 3 car, is leading the championship. Risi Competizione has had several victories as the DEKRA Green Challenge winner at individual races. Part of the ongoing effort in motorsports around the world for cleaner, more sustainable forms of racing. And of course, we are very proud to say that a new contract has been agreed between Fox Sports and the Formula E Championship, extending our partnership through 2020. The inaugural season of Formula E wraps up this weekend. They'll begin again in the fall. Let's get down to the pit lane now, and Jamie.
Well, I have to say first, Bob, I'm very grateful for this covered pit stand that Riley Motorsports has. We got out of the rain for just a moment, but Bill, 93 running up front right now. Your team hasn't had the strong results after winning the 24 Hours of Daytona. What is it about endurance racing that suits us?
I don't know. I mean, we're just really all set for it. I think that, you know, how we ran at Le Mans, we had a good run showing at Le Mans, and we've always been around the endurance races. And this is one of my favorite events. I've never been involved with the winning team. I've had winning cars here, but I've never been involved with the winning team, so it's just great to see the 93 up front.
Talk about the 24 hours in Le Mans. It's a huge undertaking for an American team. What was that process like?
Well, I mean, it's all part of the people. I'm just a spoke in the wheel, but you have, you know, great people that do the logistics, do the planning, and obviously the mechanics and crew and the engineers. They all do a great job.
What goes into a project like that?
A lot of work, a lot of work. I'd have to say, you know, it's definitely 6 months out of my year is working for Le Mans.
Well, it certainly is nice to see you guys running up front again today.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully we can hold it on for a little bit longer.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Well, lights still on the safety cars. The field makes its way around. Work continues on the racetrack.
Bill Riley and his father have been involved in, obviously there's the team side and the car building side. He's been involved in 30 winners at the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Wow.
Like 14 overall wins, 30 winners.
My goodness. Watching this brush truck.
His wicked sense of humor, he says, I've still never been invited to the Champions dinner. I said, well, it's only 30. If they invite everyone who has 30,
really, I mean,
you know, pretty soon they have to invite everyone.
Here's a look at the remaining schedule on the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport to you sophisticated, or shall we say fans of a certain age, coming up July 12th. Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, July 25th. Road America, the American version of the Nürburgring, August 9th. VIR, August 23rd. Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, in the company of the World Endurance Championship. And in October, we'll wrap things up, both the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship and the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Cup at the Petit Le Mans. So join us for the entire season. And it's worthy of note, congratulations to Sebring International Raceway, host of the famous Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, round 2 of our championship this year, being voted one of the top 10 best motorsports events in the world by fans. One of the 10 best.
So a shot there of Wayne Taylor waiting for his son Ricky to come back to the transporter. Jordan there. I mean, they're a great family, a great unit, and they'll just bond together here. It's obviously not an ideal situation with Ricky making that little mistake, but he had the hammer down and was stretching the lead.
Look at that river flowing across the garage floor. Can we make it to the end without another interruption?
Everyone's going to be working on that fuel calculation, Tommy, because there's some critical decisions to be made here in the final 30-minute plus of this race.
Coming up on 32 minutes remaining. It's deceptive. Doesn't look bad, but these drivers and crews and fans, bless them, can tell you what a long day it's been at Watkins Glen. We'll be back. Welcome back to Watkins Glen and the SAHLEN'S 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by Audi. Now have less than 29 minutes remaining in this race under our 7th full course caution, brought out when Ricky Taylor spun and crashed the race leading number 10 prototype. But there's more to that story after we went to break, Calvin.
Well, absolutely. I mean, after that crash, there was the nose cone of the number 10 sitting on the racetrack. The number 5 team decided to pit their car in case there was a full course yellow. Consequently, Fittipaldi was speeding down pit lane. We believe it was either that or Barbosa leaving pit lane. Either way, there was a spit lane violation, and they had to serve that. Well, they served it just before we went to yellow, so they've now served their penalty. They're full of fuel. The leaders are going to need fuel, we believe, if we go back to green. So suddenly, everything's up for grabs here in the strategy stakes, and who can maybe get the victory here at Watkins Glen.
After 5 hours of racing, it's been a pretty frantic 30 minutes.
It's much the same in GTLM. I hope for the sake of all the battles that are raging throughout the classes, but we saw the 911 pit under yellow, so they needed fuel. But we got some other cars, the 17 wish they had, but maybe they get saved by the yellow. So it's just very much up in the air. We've got more on the 10 car from Andrew.
Well, Ricky, that was really tough. Just to explain what you think happened.
I mean, I feel terrible. I mean, our car was really, really good. I it's hard to be the leader sometimes. You're experimenting with the grip, and I mean, I made a mistake. It's as simple as that, but you know, with an hour to go, we have to be pushing for every inch we can get, and I feel bad for all of our guys and Kana Kaminolta and everybody involved. So the positive was we had a really, really good car, and you know, we had a real shot at winning. I had a lot of confidence in the wet especially, and you know, I just made a tiny mistake, and you know, there's not a lot of room for error here at Watkins Glen.
Do you think they should have stopped the race?
It's hard to tell. I mean, you can't tell the difference in from on the windscreen. It just always looks wet. There was a lot of puddling. It's not my decision.
Well, thanks for coming out and talking to us. I know you're devastated. I think the next thing's a hot bath.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Your heart goes out to Ricky Taylor.
He's one of the nicest young men you'll ever meet, and I know he's going to be really taking this one in a bad way, because they just kind of clawed their way back into the championship contention, and this will really hurt that with only 4 rounds remaining. We're past the halfway point here today, round 6 of 10 for the prototypes.
Okay, let's talk about the car still in the race. Joey Hands on the lead. Richard Westbrook runs second in the 90 car. What's going on there, Brian?
Just checked in with them. They came to pit lane right after the track reopened after the last red flag. And with all the yellow that we've had, and with the time running dirt, you know, since then, and the slow laps around the racetrack, they're good to go. So it'll be interesting to see where the 0-1 is with their fuel strategy.
I think they stopped at a similar point. Unfortunately, our timing and scoring is reflecting their last pit stop when we were under red. So I believe, as I recall, it's hard to get back to that information with our data system here, but I'm pretty sure they were within a lap or two of one another. So if the 90 is good, I got a feeling the 01 may be also.
Wave by going on track right now, as soon as the field is reformed. Cards, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to reshuffle the deck with 25 minutes to go. You're not going to want to leave this one.
Usually we try to paint the picture for you, but we're as in the dark as you are at this point.
But looking forward to it, as I'm sure you are. We'll take another break and return to action at Watkins Glen. Well, we thought the SAHLEN'S 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by Audi, would be a special event, being round 3 of the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Cup, but I don't think we had any idea it would turn out the way it has, with on and off monsoon-like rain showers, terrific action on track, a lot of energy expended looking at possible scenarios, and we are far from done with less than 21 minutes remaining. Let's listen to some radio transmissions for the Ganassi team.
So a little status update, Joey. 22 minutes to go. I've reported everything you've said to race control, so we're just going to hang tight here and see what we got.
Copy that. This track's still pretty bad. There's a lot of water just here entering up the hill, the S's, and this river's still flowing halfway down the S's. And then there's still a lot of standing water at the bus stop. That's the big issues.
Joey last night about the car and the various conditions. He said, we're pretty racy in both, dry and wet, but he said it's really edgy up through the S's with this race car in the wet conditions. I think we could see that on that restart, whereas Ricky had the confidence just to get up and through there and on that back straightaway. Joey is having to feel his way up through there, so I think that's the part of the racetrack that he's probably most nervous about. Be interesting to see what sort of grip Westbrook has in that portion of the racetrack, but he's probably thinking about the big picture too. He has the championship lead coming in tied with the 5 car, and they're ahead of the 5 car right now. But this is one of those days where you think, oh, they've made the wrong strategy call. Now it's the right strategy call. Now it's the wrong strategy call. It's really changing because of this extended yellow.
Yeah. And that, I think that's, I don't doubt what he's saying about the conditions, but I think part of that is the longer this yellow goes, the more it helps the 01.
Right.
So, you got to take it a little bit with a grain of salt. That's why he's saying, tell him again, tell him again. They said, we already told him.
Right.
I think they're getting into their window fuel-wise too.
Yeah,
I really do.
So.
I think they got to be really close to being able to do it okay.
And a lot of the cars behind him too, probably thinking along the same lines.
The 17 car as well. They played a strategy call, keeping Wolf out there, and afterward, the way things are going, they said, no, we've made the wrong call, but now it could be coming back their way with the extended yellow.
And, you know, we saw what happened. The conditions are obviously not good. You know, what happened to Ricky Taylor. So now it's that much close to the end. There's that much more intensity. But that's what these guys are paid to do.
That's right. Barbosa's kind of buried in the pack there as well, so he's got some work to do visibility-wise and threading the needle through the traffic.
Well, we really do need to give a tip of the cap, not only to our camera crew, but also to the fans. I mean, look at them on the hillsides. They've been camping here all weekend. Hey, you know, it's Sunday, race is almost over. It's been raining. You could leave if you want to. We wouldn't blame you. But this is the Glen. I'm not going anywhere. It ain't over till it's over.
He's telling everyone he'll listen. This is about to get good.
Unless his eyes are closed, in which case I take back everything nice I said.
That's not that escaped convict, is it?
Jeez. You know it's not one of them.
Hiding in plain sight.
Well done, ladies.
Hey, that's Katie. Super fan.
Let's take this opportunity to recap the highlights of the race. Started on a wet track as Bill Auberlen found out when he spun and was tagged by the Porsche Earl Bamber. Virtually at the beginning of the race.
Oz Negri here trying to go underneath the PC car of Bruno Junqueira. Bruno came down on him. Clips Bruno's car, sends him into the fence. He's done for the day. No penalty on that one. Stu's decided just racing action.
Later on, the 60 itself was wheeled back to the garage. Good action here. The 31 trying to follow the 90 in that prototype challenge car. Jerome Mee did not see the 31, tagged it, spun and crashed, but they were able to rejoin the race.
They were really hurt the 31's chances here today. They went down a lap. Here we see Ben Keating taking a little ride over the curb and through the grass, big grass divot into the radiator grill, bit of bodywork damage. He had to hit pit lane. Then Nick Tandy gets a little bit aggressive in traffic and turns James Guay in the 54 PC.
Those PC cars have been contact magnets today. And the Delta Wing. Did not race at Detroit most recently, but they were out here with a heavily revised car. They had problems with the gearbox and their race was over. John Edwards coming out on his first hot lap after a pit stop, smacked the tire wall and he was done. Contact here between the GTD WeatherTech Porsche and the Paul Miller Racing Audi. And we are going green. With 16 minutes and change remaining in the race, who's got the gas?
Well, as Ricky Taylor said, being the leader is sometimes difficult. You got no one to gauge it from. You're the first one there, got to feel the grip and make the right decisions. Richard Westbrook sits in that second spot. They won here last year, and a great drive by Westy in the closing stages. Does he have anything in the tank this year?
Top 2 overall together, top 3 in GT Le Mans just behind them, mixed in with the leader in Prototype Challenge. And then also the top 5 cars, I think, in GT Daytona are all together as well.
This is going to be a shootout, that's for sure, in those classes. Look at Wolf Hensler's pace. He's basically stayed up with Richard Westbrook through half a lap of this racetrack, where typically you'd be 10 seconds behind in dry conditions.
Correction, the top 11 cars in GTD on the same lap and all together.
There's the 912 Porsche going by
Bill Auberlen. That's for position, that's for second spot. So Bamber coming off that victory at Le Mans, now looking ahead, seeing if he can flash in the headlights there. He wants Renger van der Zande, who's in a PC car, which should be quicker to get out of the way, so he can chase down the GTLM leader, Wolf Hensler.
There's Hensler, just that far ahead on the road.
Very questionable on fuel in the 17.
Same for the 01. We heard that the 90 said they're good. Mike O'Gara told Jamie that they're tight, but maybe okay now with the extended yellow. What are you hearing on Porsche, Jamie?
Well, I was listening in on the radios before we went back to green. You see Earl Bamber closing in that gap on Wolf Hensler. The dictation from Porsche is you are allowed to fight with that number 17 machine, but you have to do it respectfully.
Earl Bamber a little over under there to get by. Oh, and he couldn't get by the PC car of Renger van der Zande.
The allowed Oberlin to stay close, and here comes Antonio Garcia.
Yep.
Van der Zandt wants to keep all these cars between he and Martin Plowman and Tom Kimber-Smith and Colin Brown.
How long will Bamber wait before he does something other than flash his headlights?
I was just amazed. I mean, that he's actually keeping pace with his PC machine. So just the compliancy, I think, of the GT cars in these really slick conditions. We're in radio communication from some of the lead prototype cars that the conditions are still really, really treacherous out there.
Picking up the number 93 in GT Daytona. That's Mark Goossens on the lead. This is the car that won at Daytona, the Rolex 24. Strong runners in the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Cup.
Farnbacher has gotten around Lawley, is now in second. Mario Farnbacher in the Alex Job car.
With 2 wins in a row coming off the victory in Detroit, maybe their 3rd of the season, but Goossens is not going to let this one go easy.
Did Farnbacher go straight at the chicane? No.
Nope, there he is. Lally hanging in there. We said 2 consecutive podiums here at the Glen. Looking for a 3rd one, but Lally, you know, wants his 1st win of the season.
On board with Christopher Haase, the number 48 Audi. Running 4th in class. Yep, championship leader coming in.
This GTD field, I mean, you've got some real aces behind the wheel right now, and you think of names like Goossens, Farnbacher, Lally, Haase, the Finn, Paltala. He'll excel in these conditions as well, so look for him. Is there enough time on the board for him to catch up to the lead group, though?
Word from the pit lane is the 3rd place car in PC. Tom Kimber-Smith is on the reserve. If he's got a pit, Colin Brown can move up to the 3rd and final step on the podium.
It's important for the championship. That was very tight coming in.
We're also hearing the 01 Joey Hand on the race lead is on the reserve.
They're not going to do 12 minutes on reserve.
Oh boy. We'll take another break and come back. This one's going to go right down to the wire. Stand by for more. The SAHLEN'S 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by Audi. Moments ago, this was the 01 pitting from the lead. Joey Hand of the Ganassi crew, a time stop, fuel only.
Joey wanted to go.
Gets the release. Now the 90 had gone by, the 5 had not. It looked like Hand was going to hold down 2nd place, but now we have a full course caution waving.
Joey did hold on to that 2nd spot. Here we see the 007 there today, goes from bad to worse. Kuno Whitmer behind the wheel. But what this will allow, Joey Hand did get out of pit lane ahead of the 5 car that caught traffic on that lap when Joey is in pit lane. So Westy leads, Richard Westbrook in the number 90. Joey's in 2nd.
Multiple cars off. The 23 has gone off.
At 2nd place.
2nd in GTD.
Looks like it might be toe of the boot.
I think so. Down in turn 7. On the rev limiter at walking pace. The rev limiter is working.
That's the deal. The problem when you rim ride there, you've just you're going in on the limit, and if you step over, you're in the grass.
You got nowhere to go. Yeah.
Tell you what, this could be a shootout here because you're going to have Westbrook, Joey there. Barbosa's going to be on the tail of the 01. Quick little bit of traffic involved.
Even with the trouble that the 07 has had, they were still on the lead lap. They were down that cylinder.
Yeah.
But Buckner said, well, maybe if it rains, that horsepower disadvantage is not as big a deal. Yeah. So I'm not sure we have footage of that.
Well, maybe that's what Kuno Whitmer was trying to do, was make it up under the conditions. But
it's going to be the short yellow procedure, Bob, which means pit lane closes, and basically a 2-lap procedure here with 7 minutes on the board is going to be really close to just getting back to maybe a green-white checker. And that's going to be all on the line. The last thing that the 90 car needed, they had a nice comfortable lead of about 30 seconds. Day. Whew. Emotional roller coaster for the lead cars here. We're seeing a replay of Mario just getting it wrong down into the toe of the boot.
And he was within a 1.5 seconds of Goose when that happened. pushing for everything he's worth. 6-hour race, trying to get the 3rd win of the year.
Taking a while to get the 007 organized.
They're going to get this.
Yeah, they're going to wait for the flatbed.
There's little things they can do. They can speed the pace car up a little bit so the pace laps don't take quite as long when they're not in the area of the trouble.
It's always a tough one because if you're in the position to take advantage of that,
yeah,
and suddenly they adjust the pace lap to try and get back to green, it's like, hey, that's not fair. We're perfectly poised to grab this win.
Yeah. So what does this do to everybody's fuel mileage, fuel situation?
I think these guys may be okay. They needed 5 more laps of yellow, apparently. That was a while ago, and I think they may have gotten those.
P1 for the Falcon car. If he's got 5 minutes and 20 seconds worth of go juice. That looks like a slow pace to me.
Well, there's 2 ways to do it. If you have to have a mandatory short yellow procedure where you do the wave around that, you want to at least get into the 2nd lap before the time runs out. If they're going to try to clean that up and get them to green, then you could slow the pace car down so you get back to green.
Board with Bill Arbolin.
Pace lap is just under 4 minutes, so they should, if they can get that car cleaned up in the next lap, we may have about half a minute to a minute left on the clock to go back to racing.
Right, do a 1-lap shootout on a skating rink. Well, we had a similar situation last year. Not as much water, but a late restart. Michael Valiente and Richard Westbrook won. The last time the same driver pairing won back-to-back 6 hours here at the Glen was Scott Pruitt and then teammate Memo Rojas, who did it 3 years running, 08, 09, and 2010. That's if the 90 wins and repeats.
They need to turn up the wick on the safety car now if they want to get back to start-finish before the green. Might not be possible. Is that something?
Good job, white flag. Follow that pace car.
White flag.
White flag. Wow. That, it appears, would be that.
Well, they must have made the determination they weren't going to get this car out of the way because
that is a little anticlimactic.
it's a shame because that was shaping up for a nice one.
Well, we've had a day full of as many dramatic twists and turns as any fan could ask, I guess. Yes, it will be anticlimactic that we don't see a finish under green. But
get the drama throughout.
Every position earned is deserved.
When you look at some of the class leaders, though, I mean, Wolfie could have been there anyway in terms of pace. Same thing with the Goose in GTD, Renger van der Zandt in PC. I think the only one who had a little bit of an advantage here is our overall winner today, potentially, because they were a bit on the back foot all day long. And it could have come good for them who came into this race with the championship lead tied with a 5.
Look at Christopher Haase in the 3rd place GTD Audi.
The only drama left is, does the 17 have enough fuel? They don't look particularly worried in the pit box, but
there's Renger van der Zandt.
Their 2nd win of the year, had a great win at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Mirko Schulteis is not here this weekend. Renger's regular co-driver, Mike Hedlund's in the car. He did a great job, led in the early going here, so superb job by Mike and Alex Popoff. He's one of those drivers, one of the Pro-Am guys who really he was as quick as the good guys when he was running full-time here a couple of years ago in the Grand Am Championship. So it's a good driver lineup for Peter Barron.
And that really changes your strategy up, much like Mario Farnbacher has in that 23 car. You got a silver guy that's as fast as anyone else's gold or right on par, and so it really frees up what you can do.
Big sigh of relief from everybody out there, I suspect. Once once more through the boot. Turn 6 back there at the back. Saw so much action today. So many races ended. So many tires rearranged. Through the toe. As was mentioned earlier, this could be a very different racetrack in a year's time. Big repaving.
Going to tear this section up, the boot, initially, and leave the short circuit in full spec, obviously, for the NASCAR race here in August. And following that event, the place will be torn up.
And a whole new chapter will open here at Watkins Glen International. There goes the 007. But the cleanup too late to preserve a green flag finish.
Some of these championships are going to get pretty tight here tonight. Bill Auckland came into this day. He and DEKRA are just 2 points behind the 3 car, and they're a position ahead of them on the racetrack right now. So that's almost going to be a tie, I think, tonight.
And the clock has struck 0. So after 6 hours, Richard Westbrook and Michael Valiante will repeat as winners.
It was going to be close, Bob. I mean, if they'd managed to get that Aston out of the way, which they did, and if the pace car had sped up a little bit, we could have theoretically got back to the stripe here.
Well, as they say, that's why we run the races.
All 3 of those cars there are happy they did.
Yes.
These guys are happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The same 2 cars won in prototype at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Westy and Renger.
Checkered flag waves.
Richard, good job. Great job.
Looks like the victory to Renger van de Zande, GTLM, Wolf Hensler, and Brian Sellers.
That's huge for that group. Really, really cool. With the Falcon Tire team getting that victory with the news that has come through in the last 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, one, good job.
GTD winner Mark Goosen and the team in the number 93, their second victory, and both of them coming in rounds of the Tequila Patrón Cup.
Cameron Lawrence, another win for the young man.
Yeah.
So
we're awesome stop.
You got to pick your spots, and the 93 boys have been living large this year. There's Richard Westbrook. Celebrations will begin when they get back around to victory lane, and we'll be there to hear from them. So stand by. More to come from the SAHLEN'S 6 hours of the Glen with the race over. The next stop on the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship takes us north of the border to Bowmanville, Ontario, at scenic Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Mosports Park to you sophisticated fans. Sunday, July 12th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Fox Sports 1. Here at Watkins Glen, Richard Westbrook climbs out of the VisitFlorida.com race-winning prototype car, greeted by co-driver Michael Valiante and that team. Here's a look at our BMW race results, unofficial, for the top 10 in the overall.
yeah, great win for Westy and Michael Valiante. Joey responded nicely there and got the hammer down. Clinched the podium spot, only the second podium of the year, and for the championship leaders coming in, well, they're going to drop back a little bit tonight for the 5 team.
Time for a look at our Audi move of the race. We have selected that final pit stop by the VisitFlorida.com team. Couldn't have known it at the time. They guessed, they hoped, they gambled, and it worked out. Getting that last service put him in a position to rotate back to the top of the order. And various incidents prevented this race from reaching a green flag conclusion. To Brian Till in victory lane.
The VisitFlorida.com boys having a great year. So consistent, only one finish off of the podium, I should say, this year. And for Michael Valiente, you guys came in here tied in the championship. That's done. There's no more tie anymore. Perhaps more importantly, you claim a second victory. How special is it to win here again?
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's been a tough weekend for us. I haven't been that well this weekend, but we just wanted to stay out of trouble, and it was really tough conditions today, but the team did a great job, and I've got one of the best teammates in the paddock, so extremely pleased, and I can't believe we did it twice in 2 years.
Yeah, not only 2 wins, but twice in a row, and Richard will get you in here as well. That late race caution, actually a couple of them, every time those would come out, what was going through your mind?
To be honest, at one point I was thinking I don't care about the result, I just want to get home safe, because it was just rivers everywhere, and it was a handful keeping up with the safety car, especially as we had no wiper, as I'm sure Michael told you. So, I mean, to come back and get a repeat victory here, I don't know how we did it, but it's such a great feeling. He did a great job, and the team did an awesome job, and we're all going to go and get some sunshine back in Florida now. But I have to say, in the really wet conditions, the Conti tyres were, because it's every driver's worst nightmare, aquaplaning, and that was kept to a minimum today. So just delighted to get home in one piece, and still got the WG crown.
Congratulations. Not only do they take away the victory, guys, but remember, they'll leave here with the points lead.
All right, thanks very much, Brian. And when a guy like Richard Westbrook tells you it was too dangerous out there, that says something.
And the key is there, you're looking at the standings, but we're running out of rounds, 4 rounds to go, so each one gets more and more critical.
5-point lead for Valiente and Westbrook over Fittipaldi and Barbosa. Eric Kern and Dane Cameron in the sister car to the 5, and then Scott Pruitt and Joey Hand in 4th place, 17 points out. To Jamie Howe.
Nick Tandy just made his way over. Big celebration, Wolf Hensler. We were wondering about the fuel situation. How nervous were you behind the wheel of the car?
Very nervous, but finally, I must say, I think we did the last yellow. Okay, helped us, but I think we would have made it to the end. It was very, very close with the fuel. I mean, the second last yellow, the long one, they told me to save as much fuel as you can, and then in the last laps on the green, I also tried to save a little bit fuel, and it was close, but I think we would have made it without it. But the 912 was coming and was very close at the end, so it would have been a hard fight, but yeah, who knows? And I'm happy for Falcon Tire. It's a great race today, and also with Brian, an awesome job, and yeah.
It definitely is a team sport. And Brian, you were sitting on the pit cart while all of the fuel numbers were being calculated. What was that like?
I don't know the right word to describe it, and I don't know I can probably say it on TV, but it's pretty difficult sitting there. I mean, the good thing is when Wolf's in the lead, that as long as we can go to the end, he's going to bring it back in the lead, and that was our only goal, is to make sure we had enough, and that last yellow did it. So we, everyone was biting their fingernails, but we knew if we had enough fuel that we would win.
And this cute little good luck charm you have here, I'm going to unzip his jacket because it's one of the most adorable things, honestly, that you could ever even imagine. There it is. Congratulations, guys.
Well, Jamie has to do interviews. He's going to watch the kid.
In the GT Le Mans division, Bill Auberlen and Derek Berner, 157 points tied with Jan Magnussen and Antonio Garcia. Finally, the Corvette boys in the number 3 are going to have to scramble if they're going to win the championship. 12 points back, another tie. This one's going to go right down to the last event of the year as well. Now let's go back down. Here's Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, well, I'm not even in victory circle yet. I'm down here at the Starworks garage with Renger van der Zande, who's absolutely soaked, and you're shaking with the cold now.
Oh, yeah, it's so cold out there. I mean, behind the safety car, you're going so slow, and it's just freezing. And I had to go to the toilet very, very soon after when I got back as well. So it was a hard race behind the safety car. As soon as it was green, it was easy for me.
So the Flying Dutchman with a big smile on your face. What a tough race and a second consecutive victory.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. Peter is doing my engineering now, and we are winning. It's 2 in a row now. I feel very strong. I feel very fast in the car, very comfortable. And I have to say thanks to my teammates who did a great job. and the team just flawless on the pit stop. We even changed a little bit of wing. We changed a little bit of the braking ducts that fell off, and I just cruised it. So I was enjoying, and especially in the wet, you know, finally we got a race here in the wet here, because I'm enjoying that one.
A wet flying dash. I go over to Mike Headland because we spoke to Alex in the middle of the race. Well, terrific result for you, Mike.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think this is my first win in Tudor, so that's awesome. I had a podium at Laguna, but this is definitely a little bit sweeter. The first couple stints were really difficult. It's probably the most difficult conditions I've ever driven in my entire life.
Well, you kept it all together. Congratulations. Go back to the booth.
All right, thanks very much, Andrew. Let's have a look at the championship standings in Prototype Challenge. Reigning champions, John Bennett and Colin Brown, with a 1-point lead over Mike Gouache and Tom Kimber-Smith.
Yeah, it's really tight there, the 54 and the 52. They just seem to be joined at the hip throughout this championship year, and it's a great job here. They see the 11. They're still only 13 points out despite that big hit here today.
Now let's hear from our GT Daytona class winners with Brian.
Bob, it seems like the Viper guys in TI Automotive like endurance racing's Al Carter, Cameron Lawrence, Mark Goossens down there. You guys win another one. Al, the conditions out there today just absolutely horrible. How'd you get through them?
You know, we started off, you know, from the beginning, the track was really slick, and then it came in, and we had a little bit of a window there, but then the Continental tires in the rain, they came in good, and, you know, obviously at the end, the conditions were hard, but, you know, we were mistake-free, and that's what kind of keep us up front.
And you bring in Cameron Lawrence. He's kind of the fill-in guy, you know, making your living in Trans Am, but you come in over here. I would think you're starting to like endurance racing now as you rack these victories up.
Yeah, I think I like this stuff. These cars are cool. This team's awesome. I mean, everyone just did their job today. The guys up top, you know, the engineers were just, the strategy was perfect. They kind of left me out on slicks for a while in the wet, but I think those hot slicks did really well, you know, saved us some pit stops. So we just do what they tell us, and we believe in them, and they believe in us. And, I mean, this speaks for himself. It's just awesome.
Yeah, awesome indeed. And you got to have that faith both directions. And talk about faith, Mark Goossens, you've been around Bill Riley for years, and I know that you trust the decisions that get made. There at the end, when the conditions were so bad, the yellows kept coming. What were you thinking?
Well, I think at one point the calls for a safety car were right. I think IMSA did a great job there because visibility was very poor. And even behind the safety car, we were kind of aquaplaning on the tires. So I think some calls were right. Unfortunately for Kuno, he had that wreck at the end that brought out another safety car. But you know, those conditions are the same for everybody, and I think we dealt with them the best today. I think we had a pretty strong car in the dry as well as in the wet, so you know, these guys did a wonderful job, and you know, Riley Motorsports, we've seen that before, so hopefully we'll be back for more of that in Atlanta.
And they take another victory. I was talking to Bill Riley. He said, we like this endurance racing because the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Championship, I like tequila and I like margaritas, and the 4th of July is coming up, so they take another one.
You'll probably also like that $50,000 bonus check that goes to the GTD winners. Here's how the GT Daytona stacks up. Now, I would have sworn we had another single-digit margin. Only 10 points separate first from second in GTD. More to come from Watkins Glen. Stand by. We'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Victory Lane, and now with me, Jarl Barbosa. Very quickly, Jarl, you're leading the Tequila Patrón points, so at least that's good.
Well, it was a tough race for everybody. The different conditions didn't really came our way, but we're very happy. The Mustang sampling Corvette was really strong. We had some really good local sponsors here with Cider Trees today, so we're pretty happy. You know, it was just a tough race. Dry to wets, and just the Continental tires stay with us the whole time, so we're very pleased. You know, the outcome could be different, but we're really looking forward for the end of the year.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good run all in all for the number 5 guys. Let's recap the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Cup with points awarded at the 6-hour mark. Action Express remains out front with the number 5 car in prototype. Now the 52 PRI Matheson's car has broken the tie with the 54. They are alone atop the PC standings. The number 3 Corvette remains the leader at GT Le Mans. And in the GT Daytona division, the 93 from Riley Motorsports continues its march toward the 2015 Patrón Endurance Cup. Quick final thought, Cal?
Well, it was a crazy race and really a moving target in terms of strategy there at the end. Shame we didn't get back to green flag. Hate to see it end that way, but a good day, and we look forward to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Well, I think Westy's comment about how scary the conditions were really kind of put it in perspective. He was happier to finish in one piece than to win.
Yeah, good to hear all of the drivers support the decisions of race control. We could have used a green flag finish, but it just was not to be. We thank you for joining us for the SAHLEN'S 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by Audi. I'm Bob Varsha for Calvin Fish, Tommy Kendall, Brian Till, Jamie Howe, and Andrew Marriott.